All right, welcome back for another video. Got another interesting one again for you today, and ultimately, today I'm going to talk about basically a brief overview of HEDERA HashGraph and why I'm adding it to my portfolio. So also, probably my next video, maybe within the next few videos, I'm going to do an entire portfolio update, let you know where I sit, and ultimately where I plan to sit through the next entire bull cycle. So. All right, first and foremost, when jumping into a project, trying to evaluate it from an investment standpoint, you always got to look at the market cap, circulating supply, and total supply, as well as the price. All right, so everything with HEDERA HashGraph looks good from this standpoint. As far as market cap, I think it's very undervalued as far as the ranking. It's one of the better projects in existence, and I'm going to show you that. But the only red flag that I see is, on the surface, circulating supply. I'm going to, explain this to you on the next page. But anyway, so the circulating supply is only 5.5 billion compared to the 50 billion in circulation. So everyone, from an investment standpoint, you're going to see that and think, okay, so there's going to be massive inflation coming in this project over whatever period of time. So, which is kind of true, but so let's take a look at that. So they say that the reason they did this, for reasons of network security explained in part 3, HEDERA's plan calls for a very slow and measured release of HBARs out of the HEDERA treasury. Less than 8% of the total HBAR supply is expected to be circulating before the end of 2019, and less than 34% is expected to be circulating for the first 5 years after network launch. This release schedule is one of the mechanisms that will ensure that no attacker will be able to disrupt the network. It also will ensure the price of HBARs is determined primarily through market forces rather than by the HEDERA Council. So yes, of course, why is there only roughly 10% of supply circulating? But they have a plan for it, and it's going to take, I believe, 15 years to release the entire supply. So all of this inflation is going to occur over time. And I believe by the end of next year, which is kind of where I expect this bull run to be coming to maybe even peak or fruition for sure, there's only going to be about 11 billion in circulation. So even then, the supply is about to maybe roughly double over that time frame. Even if you double the market cap right now, I would still say HEDERA is probably undervalued compared to a lot of the crap floating out there in the crypto market. So for me, it's fine. At least speculating this project over the next few years, the circulating supply is going to be okay. We'll see what happens over time. But anyway, next up, I always look at the chart just to get an idea of where we're at. So obviously, the price hasn't moved much. This project hasn't been circulating long enough to really know. But if you look at this chart, it's been very steady, basically, right? It launched in roughly September, October last year. It dipped down to around 1 cent and had this, pretty good run in February, leading up to the crazy market sell-off we saw. But what I do like about the chart, the price action, is it dipped 70% in March within a week. But then it also, let's take a look, it rebounded about 100% within like a day, 1 day. So I think that's great for the price action because it basically retraced this entire parabolic move that it had, and then it just leveled out right around the 3 cent area, which is where it launched at. So I think that this is a good area to be buying. Honestly, it doesn't look great compared to the moving averages. We sunk below, looking like they're we got back above again, but there's not much TA to do here. Ultimately, I think 3 cents is a good buy area. If it dips down, I think the lowest it could get is probably about 2 cents or so, which would just be another good buying opportunity. So 3 cents, 2 cents, whatever. I think this project easily can get up into the dollar range. Would not be surprised at all, especially with the circulating supply. $1 would put it only at about 5.6 billion, which would only jump it to like number 6 or something overall right now. And that's right now, right? As the market continues to grow, 5.6 billion will not be a high market cap. So $1, easy price target for me, at least in this bull cycle. All right, moving on, I just wanted to compare also the, like as I mentioned, so Bitcoin had this about 57, 58% retracement in March off that crazy sell-off. Like I said, HashGraph sold off 70%, but it immediately rebounded. Bitcoin took a while to get back to where it was. Okay, so for me, that just shows that this buying area is probably a realistic place to be getting in. All right, let's start moving on to the project. So if you come over to the website, one of the major selling points of it is that HEDERA is owned and governed by the world's leading organizations, as they say here. I mean, you got Avery Dennison, Boeing, Deutsche Telekom, FIS, Google, IBM, LG, and then some few others. I think this Swirlds is also created by the founders of HEDERA HashGraph, cloud computing company, something like that. But anyway, whenever you have companies like this, Google, IBM, LG, FIS, all on the, Boeing, all on the board, deciding what happens with this project. Obviously, there's money behind it, and intelligence, right? They're gonna have all the money and all the smarts that they need behind the project to push it forward. All right, and you're scrolling down a little further. They show you right here, HEDERA is extremely fast and cheap. Okay. So compared with Bitcoin and Ethereum, Bitcoin 3 transactions per second, Ethereum 12-ish right now, and HEDERA can run up over 10,000 transactions per second, with minimal fees compared to, this is wrong too, $3 a fee, Bitcoin and Ethereum, Ethereum's higher than that right now. Ethereum's also not 10 to 20 seconds for transaction confirmation. Just try sending it and you'll be able to see easily. This is another thing that I want to touch on really quick. With crypto in general, if you're new to this space, just try sending these things back and forth from exchanges to your wallets or wallets to wallets. That's the best way to find out what it is that you're actually buying. Test the product, okay? So if you send Bitcoin, you're going to be waiting around on that thing for hours, all right? And, it didn't used to be that way. But it's just because Bitcoin's over congested and overused at this point. And same with Ethereum. They're both running at almost maximum capacity. So that proof of work stuff is not going to work ultimately, in my opinion. But anyway, as you can see here, HEDERA is fast and cheap. Once again, if you want to learn about these projects, just try sending them all around between wallets and you'll see which ones are fastest. All right. So moving on, I want to show you this video that they have posted on their team, on their website under their team. So let's take a look.
It started with a vision for how the internet should work, how it could work.
It really should be possible for anyone to just kind of wave their hand and carve out a piece of cyberspace and create a world of their own.
But the technology to achieve such a vision simply did not exist.
There's no way that you can have really high throughput and also have all these security and fairness properties. I was able to convince myself it's not possible. And I set it aside, and it would come back and haunt me, and it would keep nagging at me. And so I would pick it up again and set it aside again. And this kept going for years.
3 years later, Lehman had a breakthrough, the hashgraph consensus algorithm.
Wait a second. If we're all just talking to each other, and you include a tiny bit of extra information, we could each end up with a complete history of exactly how we talked to each other in what order. I would know so much that I could take one of those huge, impractical, impossible, too slow voting algorithms and do it with no votes at all. I know how you would vote, so don't bother voting. Don't tell me your vote, I know it. And it gives us this entire history. The history is called a hash graph.
In 2015, Mance and Lehman founded Swirlds to battle test the algorithm in permissioned environments. And the following year, Lehman published the technical paper. Then in 2017, HashGraph was introduced to the world.
We've just come out of stealth. HashGraph is the future of blockchain tech.
But to realize a fairer, more secure digital future for all, where the internet belongs to you, the world needed a trust layer of the internet, a public ledger built on HashGraph.
I'm pleased to introduce you to HEDERA. It is a public hashgraph network with a world-class governing council.
This is it. We are about to launch the HEDERA mainnet and mint 50 billion HBARs. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
All right.
That's it. Congratulations.
Yep. Mainnet is live. We've just wrapped up our first 8-city global decentralized hackathon. This is called an HBAR. This is our symbol that we believe is going to change the world. We're very excited to be here in Seoul. I'm very proud to be able to announce the first set of council members.
We're talking about the HEDERA Consensus Service. This is a new service. Okay, it looks like we are down to the final seconds here.
3, 2, 1. Open access.
The network is open. As of this moment, we have council member nodes online, ready to take transactions from anyone, anywhere in the world.
It hasn't been your internet for a long time. Make it yours. What future will you build?
All right, so there you have it. There's HEDERA HashGraph. That was just a kind of brief overview of, the history and how far they've come. So next up, I wanted to take a look at just a few members of their team. As I mentioned, this is really a brief overview. I'm going to more deep dive later on. I'll do more videos on the project, but ultimately I just kind of wanted to touch on some of the main points to know and, just kind of put it out there in your mind so that you can know about this project at least a little. So if you come here and look at the founders, this is also very important. So the founders visiting their LinkedIn. So first guy, Lehman Bayard. So both him and the other founder both founded Swirls, as they mentioned in the video. And so as you can see here, he's got a good history of working as a computer scientist and professor. He went to college at Carnegie Mellon, got his doctorate in computer science. And a couple interesting things about him and the other founder, first and foremost. So he was a professor at the Air Force Academy. Thought that was interesting. So there's maybe some government ties there. Same with Mance Harmon. So scrolling down, looking at his history, Swirls once again, as I mentioned. And then you can see here he worked for the Missile Defense Agency as a program manager, as well as the Air Force Academy. So he was also an instructor there. So I'm sure that he probably met Mr. Lehman there at the Air Force Academy, probably known each other since then. So also we have this guy, Lionel Chacron, I guess. I don't know how you say that. He's the Chief Product Officer. This guy clearly has a great resume. 10 years at Cisco as a VP and general manager. Also just left Oracle as a VP for the industry and emerging technologies branch, I believe. So there you have it. So he was at Oracle for 4 years as a VP, and now he decides to leave there to go to HEDERA HashGraph. So I'm not going to do every team member. You can see here the founders have connections with the Air Force Academy. And, obviously this guy here, the Chief Product Officer, came from Oracle and Cisco. So well plugged in people, I'm sure. And a couple other important things to note about it. So I wanted to show you this article. This came out just last month. 1 year after open access, HEDERA now processes 1.5 million transactions per day, surpassing Ethereum. HEDERA saw dozens of applications go live with the network becoming openly accessible to the public a year ago, with new applications being launched regularly over the last 12 months. During its first year as a publicly available distributed network, HEDERA averaged approximately 750,000 transactions per day, almost the same as the Ethereum network over the past year. Over the past month, the HEDERA Hashgraph network processed an average of 1.5 million transactions per day, almost double that of the Ethereum network. Unlike other public decentralized networks, the HEDERA Hashgraph network fees do not fluctuate significantly as network utilization grows. All right, that's pretty much it. They also cite in here that, where was it at? Oh, sorry, enterprise grade applications. So I just wanted to take you to the applications page. So you can see here quickly, they have a lot of people building using HEDERA Hashgraph. I also saw that they had mentioned Chainlink in here. So they're probably using Chainlink oracles, I would assume. That's probably what that is. But yeah, you see here, these are all the projects being built on HEDERA. And then one thing I wanted to point out, so they're saying right here that, basically at this point, they're processing almost double that of the Ethereum network. Meanwhile, once again, always going to keep showing you this because you need to keep it in your mind, right? So Ethereum is operating at about 97.5% capacity, and it's doing half the transactions of HEDERA Hashgraph. So you tell me what that means. I don't know. Sounds to me like Ethereum's broken and it's just not going to work in its current form. But that's what they talk about here in their white paper at HEDERA, if you want to check that out. Basically, they're saying how if anything is going to be a public distributed ledger, it's going to need capacity of hundreds of thousands of transactions per second, whereas as they show on their website, Ethereum can only do like 12. So Ethereum's not going to work in its current form. They're going to have to fix it. I'm going to keep saying this until everybody gets it. It's just good to be out there looking for what competitors might be there vying for the top spot. Also, there's this website, cryptoforcongress.com. It's just a group, like a committee, and to name some of the people that are there, well, you have Perion Boring from the Chamber of Digital Commerce, Executive Director is of HEDERA Hashgraph, Brett McDowell. Jeez, can't speak today. Got a guy from eToro, Paxos, and so on. You see here, HEDERA Hashgraph is one of their partners. So, Crypto for Congress. Yep. That's pretty much all I got for you. Like I said, just a brief overview. I'm sure it's not too hard to see here. HEDERA is faster, cheaper, processes more transactions than Ethereum, and it is owned by Google and FIS and IBM and LG and Boeing and Deutsche Telekom and Avery Dennison. And as I've shown you, it only has 192 million market cap compared to what is Ethereum right now at the moment. Ethereum is 42 billion, so plenty of room to grow there for HEDERA. We'll see what happens, but ultimately, HEDERA is basically a smart contract platform. It can handle many different things, but ultimately, I would put it up there as being a competitor with Ethereum, Cardano, maybe Polkadot, the EOS, Tron, Tezos. These are all kind of similar things. Ultimately, most of them have all moved on to proof of stake, except for Ethereum. I guess Ethereum is, I don't know, maybe they're playing it safe to try and make the switch to proof of stake. They don't want to mess anything up because they are number 2 right now and at 42 billion in valuation. But as like I'm saying, HEDERA Hashgraph is extremely fast, and out of all these smart contract platforms, it's the fastest and cheapest and processing the most transactions Yet it's way down here at number 66 and 190 million market cap compared to 42 billion with Ethereum. All right, so I'm sure you get the point here. HEDERA is very well connected and has all, you know, a great team, great founders, and yep. So I'm adding some to my portfolio. I'm going to continue to deep dive it and see if I can pull up some more information that would be of value to you. But I hope that was informative or interesting to say the least. As always, please like and subscribe, share with your friends and family, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks.
What is a cashless society? What does it actually mean in a literal or high-level sense?
Money will become like these, relics of a different age, and will only be found in places like this. In other words, hard cash will disappear. It will become electronic, transferred by things like these.
Then Tracy is in Beijing to show us what a nearly cashless society actually looks like. Then, good morning.
Mobile payment transactions in China reached a cumulative total of 277.4 trillion RMB in 2018, ranking number 1 in the world, according to the recently released statistical report on internet development in China. As of June 2019, online payment users in the country reached 633 million. The cashless society is now approaching.
When's the last time you paid with cash? Well, chances are cash has taken a backseat to the plastic in your wallet and smartphone pay apps.
Denver 7's Ryan Luby explains the digital pay revolution and why not everyone is on board.
The cashless society, the cashless society.
The cashless society.
The cashless society is now approaching.
The cashless society.